I want to lift you up again on the map and show you around with joy. Actually, with Israel bombing the Iranian embassy in Damascus last year on April 1st, we were left wondering what would come from Iran, what would happen. Naturally, Iran consistently asserted to our visitors that it had the capability to conduct an attack within the boundaries permitted. This mirrors its stance on proxy involvement. The pinches and observations were brought back to the table. But is it just a perception, as Professor Zeynep said, or could it be much more? What do you think? And when you look at it this way, where could it be if it happens?
By the way, the sentence you left was beautiful, like from Iran. What did you say?
What did I say? It was Ford's nuclear facility. Let me check again. What was the other one? Natanz.
Yes,
and also Saul.
What came from Iran, for instance, let me start from there. What came from Iran? For example, we received very beautiful photos from Iran, very beautiful video footage, animations. We saw Khamenei's face, for instance. We saw his watch while he was stroking his beard. We saw his clothes. They responded so harshly that Israel was left bewildered, not knowing what to do. Incredible. Iran frightened Israel. Beautiful photos, beautiful animations.
And there was Yusuf walking. Yes, yes, indeed.
They are walking like this.
Stepping over the flags of Jews, Israel, and the USA like this.
Khamenei sits like this, then turns to the right. I wonder, which side will it hit? He turned to the left. Which side will it hit? Oh, wait, there will be an announcement during Friday prayers. Come on, the evening prayer has arrived. Come on, a night prayer. While we were saying, let's make it to the morning, Iran's response truly made it into the literature. I don't necessarily agree with Zeynep Hokam's point of view right now. If Iran, for example, were to say, we will hit Israel, it wouldn't be taken very seriously. I wouldn't. Iran, yes, it will hit. Yes, it will hit. Let's see, I mean, where will it hit? They launch a missile, missiles without warheads. They launch a missile. It takes 9 hours to reach its destination. They launch a missile. Well, Ukraine accidentally shoots down a passenger plane. It targets American bases in Iraq. They hit their own territories. Not something to be taken seriously or recorded. Of course, I'm telling this with a bit of humor. However, whenever Israel declares its intention to attack, I become slightly unsettled. When it comes to Israel, their relentless aggression and unyielding attacks are evident, reflecting their unceasing determination and resilience. There is no power to stop Israel's recklessness. The United States is composed of 18 characters,
which sometimes even it doesn't listen to.
The moment you hear the words, just go for it, my brave lion, all the designated refineries present here can be targeted accurately. Look, I'm specifically talking about refineries, nuclear tests, nuclear power plants. Maybe it could escalate the situation a bit more. There's also this situation when refineries are hit. Iran, which is already in an economic bottleneck and in serious distress due to embargoes, the country might surrender when it reaches a point where it is unable to refine oil or market natural gas anymore. Now, what is Iran's red line? That's important too. Now Iran is acting a bit more like a show, a bit more with the mentality of let's make it look like we're doing business.
Can something else be included in this? Now, it is said that Ford's nuclear facility and the Natanz nuclear center will be targeted. In this news, which is based on officials, there's also this point. According to intelligence sources, the Israeli government is likely to push the Trump administration to support attacks. So it is said that there is a higher likelihood of participating in attacks than Joe Biden also. To mount an assault on Iran's heavily fortified nuclear facilities, the complexity of their structures dictates the necessity of U.S. military assistance and provision of ammunition at this point.
Yes, because they're perhaps more armor-piercing or different, more precise missiles could be used, but these areas can be hit. In other words, Israel can strike. With America's support, would this be a full-scale war or a serious bombardment? It wouldn't be like that, but it could strike. In 2019, for instance, where did they strike? There was Saudi Arabia's oil company, Aramco. They targeted Saudi Arabia's oil company. Aramco suffered significant damage there, and oil production decreased. In economic terms, the tension experienced here doesn't just affect Iran or Israel, but also impacts the countries in the region. Oil prices are increasing, and there are potential situations that could lead to even more severe economic and global crises than before. The statement made by either Israel or the United States may appear overly idealistic, but upon examining history in retrospect, one may find this notion to be accurate. What happened wasn't utopian at all. Whatever we thought was impossible, we watched it live in HD. Isn't it quite reasonable, on the contrary? We explained it here, I mean. Reaching with a strike, hitting, absolutely. Maybe at this point they might not hit nuclear facilities or some strategic points. Because, for instance, we ask if they would strike, and they did. Israel struck before. Yes. Didn't they strike? They did. For example, they struck. Where? In some areas in Isfahan, they struck regions close to Isfahan. They struck military areas. Now, there's also this situation here. For instance, Israel struck Iran. Iran's air defense systems weren't very effective. Iran said, wait, let me strike Israel. Israel's air defense systems, such as the Iron Dome, alongside Jordan's Shield and the United States' David Sling, provide protection. So it's not just the United States protecting Israel, but also other countries. Iran is also managing it.
90% of the target. Israel said no such thing.
Even Jordan objected. They said, hey, how can you hit Israel? They said, wait a minute, over my territory, like this. Jordan's stance is this. When Israel launches missiles at Iran, it is overlooked. When Iran launches missiles at Israel, I activate my air defense system. They also adopt a stance of these missiles should not reach Israel. Anyway, Jordan's leader's behavior next to Trump was much talked about in recent days. In this context, Israel's previously, we are not discussing events from many years ago, not even from a distant past, but from last year. Iran was the target of attacks in this very location indeed. There is no sign of activity anymore, he mentioned. There is a situation like this, Iran's red line. Where is it, for instance? We don't know this, we don't know. The Republic of Turkey has a red line, doesn't it? The Republic of Turkey clearly states this. It says, my brother, a terrorist organization, PKK, cannot be found in the north of Syria. If found, we will crush it. Whether they are American, Russian, Iranian, Israeli, or French, all these nationalities form part of the diverse group mentioned. We don't look at their uniform or the patch on their arm, it says. Here, we have a red line. A PKK state cannot be established. Under the PKK state, they say, we will strike and crush anyone standing alongside terrorists, whether they are American, Japanese, Chinese, or anyone else. Iran has no such red line. For example, Iran's stance is also unclear, perhaps, if there is an attack on the regime. Now, Qasem Soleimani is being killed, and there is no reaction from Iran. Israeli bombs are being dropped on Iranian soil. Little response from Iran. We have witnessed the rings of Khamenei and similar items. The consulate. There is an ongoing attack on the consulate, and once again, Iran has failed to respond in a substantial manner. In other words, there is no explainable stance for Iran's red line or Iran being so relaxed and broad, either because of this, in a serious sense, a regional war, or in a serious sense, it hesitates to engage in a direct confrontation with the United States. In other words, Nasrallah was hit, Hezbollah, Iran's #1 ally. Even then, there wasn't much noise. In other words, Qasem Soleimani died. Look, the death of Qasem Soleimani is the reason for Iran's removal from Syria and its withdrawal from the Middle East. Qasem Soleimani is such a man. In other words, if Khamenei were to die, it wouldn't have as much impact as the death of Qasem Soleimani. That's how much I'll tell you. Because Qasem Soleimani was seriously involved in operations on the ground. When Khamenei dies, another religious leader will take his place, a new head of state will come, and things will continue on track. But Qasem Soleimani is not such a man either. The president of Iran died in an accident, and a new president of Iran was elected. But Qasem Soleimani's place could not be filled. You can't even take revenge for such a man. If such an attack comes,
what will you do? You can't do anything.
What will you do? They'll probably just get by with showing rings and stroking beards again.